Have you ever started a conversation with your spouse and somehow ended up in a quiet tug-of-war? What time do you leave? How much money gets spent? How the kids are handled? How something should be done? And suddenly it's not really about the thing anymore. It's about control. Today we're talking about the power struggle you may not even realize you're in and why control often shows up when something underneath feels unsafe.
Welcome to Marriage, Intimacy and Healing with Andrew and Lara Pilcher.
We're certified marriage coaches helping couples move from survival mode to sanctuary.
Let's get started.
So here's a little of what we see all the time. A couple is talking about something practical. It might be like the calendar or the kids or the house or maybe travel decisions, particularly the budget and finances.
Anything practical,
Anything really. One person starts taking charge. They may think they're just being responsible, but the other person feels watched. They feel corrected. They feel managed. It's funny talking about this because I do recognize this pattern in Andrew and I a little bit. And we've definitely had to work through this through our marriage. So they push back, they go quiet or say, fine, do whatever you want.
Or just whatever.
Yeah, whatever. They just give up.
Tone about it. You know?
Now both people feel misunderstood. One person might feel really alone with the responsibility. I can relate to that at times. And one may feel, specimen B, Andrew, that they do not have a voice. And that is a power struggle. When a couple gets into this control and resistance loop, what do you think is usually happening underneath all of that?
Well, both sides are reacting to their perceived fears and problems, right? So one sees the need to get something done and probably believes that them pushing is the only way to get it done. And the other one feels judged or feels taught or micromanaged or whatever else and hears all this tone. So both are trying to protect something, but it becomes less and less the thing they're trying to get done and the issues around it.
So it's not always that one person's trying to dominate. And this one took us a while to work out. Sometimes both people are trying to not feel powerless.
Yeah. One side can feel probably compounding things from the past, but they just feel like, I just want to get my voice heard.
Yeah, I
so they're trying to protect their identity or their voice.
I can relate to feeling like maybe you've seen me as the more controlling one and I've seen you as you're not thinking about it, and we'll explain a little more because we've seen this pattern in a lot of people. So let me paint a picture for you. We'll call them Mia and Daniel. Mia and Daniel are leaving for a family weekend. Mia has already thought through things like clothes, snacks, timing, weather, control, pets. And in my case, I would have thought, what will it be like when I return to the house? Is the washing done? What kind of house do I want to return to? Are we leaving anything out for the bugs? So I really do plan ahead like that. But anyway, this is about Mia and Daniel. But Daniel says, why are we leaving so early? We don't need to make such a big production. Mia snaps, because if I don't think of everything, then no one does.
Then Daniel says, right, so basically I'm useless unless I do it your way.
Ooh, that one feels a little familiar to us. Now the room changes, the mood shifts, and Mia's feeling really alone, but Daniel feels a little bit treated like a child, mothered. Now they're no longer planning a weekend, they're actually fighting for position, but I think more so just fighting to feel seen and heard, right?
Yeah, there's other things going on, right?
Have you seen that kind of moment where one person thinks they're being responsible, but the other person experiences as control? I feel like I'm asking something really obvious because this has happened to us a lot, right?
Yeah, but it's common. I see it in coaching. I see it in friends and talking to people. That this is a common thing amongst two humans living together.
It's true. And that's the thing. I think we feel shame that, we've got two different personalities and we have to learn to work together. Like there's something wrong. There's nothing wrong. This is just called marriage. And I think we need to take the shame out of it because it helps us just grow and realize, this is kind of normal. What does it feel like when someone is technically trying to help, but you experience it as being managed?
So from both sides, the one trying to control is just trying to get things done and doesn't feel heard or doesn't feel that partnership around it. So they're just trying their best to get the thing done and control the outcome. They're trying to protect themselves from coming out without the outcome done. And then the other side is feeling micromanaged and feels threat. So it's like,
ooh, yeah.
I don't want to do it this way.
But so here's the point that we used to miss, and a lot of people that we coach actually miss. Control often shows up where there's a trust issue. And what I mean by that is it's not like trust as in sexual cheating trust. Trust that the other person sees maybe the way that you see it. Not, I don't trust you as a person. Trust in this moment. Can I trust this will not land on me? Is a version of it. I've definitely felt that. Can I trust you see what needs to be done? Definitely felt that. Can I trust that my way matters too? I'd say you've felt that, right?
Yeah.
Can I trust this matters to you if I do not push? Again, I say it, Andrew would relate to that one. When those fears stay hidden, they often come out in these weird sideways ways. The brain tries to work out what's happening and create some sort of verdict that might not be entirely true. They come out as correction. They come out as sharpness. They come out as silence or maybe pushback. One person's really protecting the workload, the house load, the amount of stuff, the life load, let's call it that. One person is protecting their voice, their sense of autonomy, their sense of feeling like a human being that matters. Neither person has said it clearly yet because you haven't identified what's really going on. Sometimes you're not really fighting about the plan. You're fighting because one of you feels alone with the load in the house and the other one feels like they don't have a voice. And that is why it gets so heated. It's not just about what time you leave the house. It's not just about how the money gets spent. It's not just about who does it the right way. Underneath, both of you may be asking, do I matter here?
And once both people feel unheard, the plan stops being the point.
The real work is not just making the decision, it's making sure neither of you feel like you're disappearing when you make it.
So if you're recognizing yourselves in this point, the first step is learning how to slow the moment down before it becomes another power struggle. And that's why we created the Body, Mind, Heart Reset. It helps you notice what's happening in your body, what your mind is saying, and what your heart actually needs before you react. You can grab it at andreaandlara.com.
So the shift here is not just stop being controlling. It doesn't really work, does it?
Yeah, just stop doing that thing.
Yeah, let's just stop. Because most people do not feel like they're being controlling in the moment. They feel responsible. They feel like it's urgent, or they feel like alone or worried. Like if they don't hold it together, something is going to fall apart, and maybe it will. The shift is to make what we're trying to protect more clear. Before you take over, before you correct, before you push harder, before you shut down. So the person that's more like me, that feels like maybe they've been named as controlling in the past, can say something like this. I think I'm trying to take control because I'm scared that this will all land on me. Or I'm scared that you don't see the big picture here and it's all going to land on me, or something like that. And something the other person could say that feels like they're being controlled by a controller, they could say something like, I'm pushing back because I need to know I have a real voice here, or something along those lines. And that changes the whole conversation. You're no longer pushing, you are revealing. The other person has something human to respond to, and it becomes less about who wins. It becomes more about what feels at stake. From a body perspective, why does naming what you're protecting help interrupt that power struggle? Yeah,
well, it lowers the threat hugely. So it helps us connect to our prefrontal cortex, our brain, and helps us connect. And so everything can shift down from either a ramped up state, a little on the edge of like controlling, I've got to make this happen, and then the other way to someone who's like in freeze of like, oh my gosh, the boss is back type sort of feeling. From that threat panic state towards like, okay, I know what's going on here, and you can start to work with it better.
So instead of my body hearing, you're against me, it starts to hear there's something underneath this. Now, I want to speak to both sides of this for a second. If you're the one who takes control, you are not automatically the villain. You may be exhausted from carrying too much, but control will not give you the closeness that you actually want, even if it's not really control. And if you're the one who resists, you are not automatically the problem. You may be trying to protect your voice. But disappearing or pushing back without explaining why will not help your spouse understand you better. It's not about who gets their way in the end. It's about learning to say what feels at stake underneath those decisions. You may need to slow down and ask yourself, what's happening here? What am I feeling? What emotions are coming up? Can I work out why? So maybe the question for this week is, what am I trying to protect when I reach for control or when I push back against it?
Thanks for joining us today.
If this conversation encouraged you, follow for practical relationship tools to help you move from survival mode to sanctuary.
And if you'd like personal support for your marriage, visit andrewandlara.com.
And we'll see you next time.